Hi guys, Miss Berg again. Now we are going to be talking about 8-4. So I'm going to be flipping around my camera. All right, this one is talking about fractions and whole number division. So again, to remind you about dividing fractions, remember it is keep, change, flip. So that is what we will be doing as well. So in this case, it says 3 friends share 1/4 pound package of beads equally. What fraction of a pound of beads does each friend get? So again, how many people are in the back? And this is what is being divided. So therefore it is 1/4 divided by 3. I remember if you'd like to put them in fraction format, you could do that. Remember, this is your keep. Your change is change it to multiply. And then flip means just do the reciprocal of this, which would be 1/3. So your answer to this would be 1/12. Now I'm going to show you how this is. So if you have 1/4 of a package, so that means this is all you have. You just have 1/4 of a package is all that there was. And then they were going to split this 1/4 amongst 3 people. So that means you're going to divide this 3 ways, but it's not just of, this, you need to do it amongst the whole entire package. So therefore, I'm splitting it 3 ways. So one person would get 1 out of how much of the entire package? 1 out of, and if you count each one of these, that would be 12. So 1/12 of a package. So that is what this is showing. So each friend gets 1/12 a pound of beads. Now, here is what is going on here. It says Brad has 9 pounds of ground turkey to make turkey burgers for the picnic. How many 1/3 pound turkey burgers can he make? So so what is going on is he's taking 9/1. And you can do divided by 1/3. So it could be the keep, change, flip. So this is keep is 9/1. You're going to change this to a times, and then you're going to flip this to 3/1. So if you did this, how many 1/3 pound turkey burgers can they make out of this? It'd be 9 times 3, which is 27/1, which is 27. So will the number of turkey burgers be less than or greater than 9? Well, here it's going to be greater than 9 because you're taking parts of each of those 9 pounds. So in this case, to show this, remember, it said that you're going to take each pound and you're going to cut it up into thirds. So that would be 1, 2, 3, and then this one would be, and this one would. And if you kept doing that all the way through, that would be a total of 27 pieces. So therefore you could do 9 times 3 is the other flip of that, which is 27 burgers. So therefore your answer is 27 1/3 pound turkey burgers. Okay, next. It says you have learned how you can use a model to write a multiplication sentence to solve the division problem. So here it's saying there is 1/4 of a pound of something. So there's your 1/4, but then it says you're going to divide it 2 ways. So you're only going to be picking out one of those two. So therefore it's only right here. Each piece is 1 out of 8, 1/8 of this package here. And then here it's saying 4 dividing by halves. Well, how many halves are there in 4 of these? So if you count each half, that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There would be 8 of halves in this. So what it's saying is, again, you can do your keep, change, and flip like we did over here. But the thing is, they flipped it around on us, which is still the same thing, because 1/4 times a half is the same as saying a half times 1/4. You're still going to get the same answer in this case. So that is what that one was. However, in this case, it is also keep, change, and flip. So you're going to keep your 4, then you're going to times it by flip this, it would be 2. So therefore that is 8. So describe how the model shows that dividing by 2 is the same as multiplying by a half. Well, see, 1/4 over here is cut 2 ways. Which is also half. It's half of that 1/4 of a piece. So that is what that is showing. All right, when you divide by a whole number greater than 1, the quotient always is less than the dividend. For example, the quotient of 6 divided by 3 is less than 6. And the quotient of 2 divided by 3 is less than 2. Learn below how the quotients compare to the dividend when you divide fractions by whole numbers. All right, so it says for the two expressions below, which will have a quotient that is greater than the dividend. So keep in mind, here is your dividend. So we want to know which one is going to give us bigger than that. So we can do our keep, change, flip, and then keep, change, flip. So I'm going to keep a half, then times 1/3, which is 1/6. So 1/2 of pi versus 1/6 of a pi, that is definitely smaller. 1/6 of a pi is definitely smaller than a half, because if you look, 1/2 would look like this, but 1/6 of a pi is cutting this up into 6. And then one of those is definitely smaller than 1/6. So therefore, this is not bigger than this answer. The quotient to this is not bigger than this. But here, if I did 3/1, keep, change it, and then I'm going to flip this around, that would be 6/1, which is 6. So this quotient is larger than the dividend. So here it is. So when I divide a fraction by a whole number greater than 1, so that was like right here, the quotient is what to the dividend? Well, in this case, the quotient is going to be less than the dividend whenever you take a fraction and divide it by something that is greater than 1. Now here it says when you divide a whole number by a fraction less than a whole, the quotient will always become what to the dividend? In this case, it is always greater. So this is showing this, and then this one is showing that. So that is how you can also see what your answer should be coming out to be. So whenever you take a fraction and divide it by something that's bigger than 1, your answer should come out to be less than that dividend. But whenever you take a whole number and divide it by a fraction, your answer, your quotient, should always come out to be greater than your dividend. So that's how you can check and see whether you're doing it correctly or not. All right, so this one says use a model to complete the number sentence. So what it's saying is you're taking like 2 loaves of bread and you're cutting up into fourths. So what are you truly doing? You can do 2 divided by 1/4. Remember, you can use your keep, change, flip because they want to know that multiplication. So that would be 2/1, change it to a times, and then flip it to 4/1, which is 8/1, which is 8. So you're really, when you flip it around, it's 2 times 4, which is 8. And there are 8 sections there. Here it just says do the multiplication sentence to solve it. So again, in order to do the multiplication sentence to solve this, you would have to do keep, change, and flip. So I'm going to keep this one. I'm going to change this to a times, and then I'm going to flip this around to 1/3. So 1 times 1 is 1/9 times 3 is 27. So each one is 1. So the answer is 1/27, which is definitely smaller than your 1/9. So here, again, keep, change, flip. So I'm going to keep this 7/1. I'm going to change this to a times, and then I'm going to flip this around to be 2/1, which is going to be 7 times 2 is 14 over 1 times 1 is 1, which how many ones go into 14 would be 14. So your answer is 14. And since this is a whole number divided by a fraction, it should come out to be, the answer should come out to be larger than a dividend, and it is. So I want you guys to try 4 through 7 on your own. So please pause and try 4 through 7 on your own. Okay, so if you did it on your own, you would have just have simply went and kept the first one times by the reciprocal of the other one, which is flipping it around, which this one would have came out to be 1/12. This one, you would have kept the first, then you flip that second one around, that would have been 1/40/48. This one, keep, and then change it, and then flip this around, which would have been 30/1, which is 30. And then this one is 2/3 times, flip this one around 1/3, which would have been 2/9. So that would have been 2/9. All right, now this next part says describe how the model shows that dividing by 2 is the same as finding half of 1/4. Well, in this case, it says you're going to take 1/4, which again, this is 1/4, and then you're going to divide it 2 ways. So I'm going to divide it. So then what is just one of those? That would be 1 out of 8 total. Or in other words, what is half of 1/4? Well, that is truly what you just did. You just found half of it. You just cut it in half. So therefore, the model shows that 1/4 is divided in 2 groups. Which is 1/8. It also shows 1/2 of 1/4, which is 1/8. All right, number 9. Mrs. Leah has 12 pounds of modeling clay. She divides the clay into 1/4 of a pound blocks. Oh, sorry, 1/2 of a pound blocks. If Miss Lee sets aside 6 of the blocks and gives the rest of the students in her art class, how many half-pound blocks of clay does Miss Leah give her to her class? All right, so it says she has 12 pounds of modeling clay, and then she's going to divide this into half-pound blocks. So that would be taking 12 and then 12 pounds, and you're going to be dividing them into half pounds. So how many half pounds go into 12 is what it's saying. And then it says, if Miss Leah then sets aside 6 of the blocks and gives the rest of the students. So if you're going to set aside 6, that means you are going to be subtracting 6 away from that. And then that's going to be giving you blocks for students. So in order to solve this, we should be doing this part first, seeing how many halves would be in 12 pounds. So if you want to do this, that would be 12 over 1, then timesing by 2 over 1, which is 24 over 1, which is 24. So that would be 24 half-pound blocks. And then, so that's how many blocks she will have. But then she's going to set aside 6. So you're going to take 24 and subtract off 6. So 24 minus 6 would be 18 blocks left for the students. The slowest mammal is the 3-toed sloth. The top speed of a 3-toed sloth on the ground is about 1/4 foot per second. The top speed for a giant tortoise on the ground is 1/3 foot per second. How much longer did it take the 3-toed sloth than the giant tortoise to travel 10 feet on the ground? So we got to figure out how much faster was the giant tortoise compared to the 3-toed sloth. So here we go. So now I want to say 3T for 3-toed sloth. That goes only 1/4 foot per second. Now, I'm going to say GT for giant tortoise goes 1/3 of a foot per second. So they want to know how long will it take to travel 10 feet on the ground. So 3-toed is 10 feet, and then you are going to divide it amongst how fast it can go. It can only go 1/3 of a foot per second. So then we're going to see how many 1/3 will it take to get to 10. And then here, a GT, the giant tortoise, is 10 feet again, and you're going to divide it into 1/4. So how many fourths would go into 10? So in this case, if you did this, it would be 10 over 1 times 3 over 1, which is 3 times 10, which would be 30 over 1, which is 30. So this one would take 30 seconds. And then here, if we did this, again, it would be keep, change, flip. So keep this one, change, and then flip this one around to 4 over 1, which would be 40 over 1, which is 40 seconds. So, how a three-toed sloth. Oh my goodness. I messed up. Sorry. This went with the giant tortoise. So this is giant tortoise, and this one is the three-toed sloth. I messed up. Sorry, guys. So the three-toed sloth would travel how many seconds? The three-toed would travel 40 seconds, take 40 seconds to go 10 feet. And then the giant tortoise would take 30 seconds. So then how much longer would it take the three-toed sloth compared to the giant tortoise? Well, then you would subtract those numbers, 40 minus 30, which is 10 seconds. So therefore, it would take the three-toed sloth 10 seconds longer to travel 10 feet. All right. Next, I want you guys to try number 11 on your own. So please pause this and try this on your own. All right, so you should have paused this. So now I'm going to go ahead and go into this. It says, Jamie has a striped fabric that is 5 yards long, and solid fabric that is 4 yards long. So I'm going to circle this one so that it is different than the striped. It says she cuts the striped fabric into equal pieces that are 1/4. So this goes with this. So then the stripe is going to just be cut into 1/4. And then the solid pieces will be cut into 1/3 yard. How many more pieces of striped fabric does she have than the pieces that are solid fabric? So in this case, striped, there were 5 yards. And then you're going to divide it into 1/4. And then here, the solid fabric is 4 yards. And then you're going to divide it into 1/3. So if you do this, I'm going to do the keep, change, flip. Keep, change, flip this. That would be 20 over 1, which is 20 pieces. And then here, this was striped, and this is SO for solid. So this one would be keep, change, flip, which is 12 over 1, which is 12 pieces. So how many more stripe pieces than solid would there be? Okay, so to figure out how many more pieces you should have subtracted. So 20 minus 12 equals 8 pieces. 8 more pieces. Okay, and that is your answer, 8 more pieces. All right. On this one, I'm going to do some with you. Again, they did the same thing here. They forgot the name. So name, and then put a line up here. Again, do your keep, change, flip, and then of course, show your work. So right here it just says, just write the related multiplication sentence to solve this. So we're just going to simply change it to a multiplication problem by doing your keep, change, flip. So I would put it both in fraction formats. Again, keep, change, flip. So keep 1/5. I'm going to change this to a times, and then I'm going to flip it to 1/3, which is 1 times 1 is 1 over 5 times 3 is 15. So therefore my answer would be 1/15. So I'm going to come down here again, the keep, change, flip. So I would make it into fraction formats, 5/1, keep, and then I'm going to change it to a times, and I'm going to flip this to 4/1, which is 5 times 4 is 20 over 1 times 1 is 1. How many ones go into 20 would be 20. And then here, this one would be keep, change, and flip. So a half times, and then you flip this would be 1/2. So then if you did that, it would be 1 times 1 is 1 over 2 times 2 is 4. So that would be 1/4. And then here, I'm just going to do one more with you. Again, keep, change, and flip. I would make it into fraction formats, then keep the first one, change to a times, and then flip this one around to 1/5, which is 1 times 1 is 1 over 5 times 5 is 25. So that is what you are going to be doing as well. And then over here, I'm going to do this one with you. It says Isaac has a piece of rope that is 5 yards long. And then he's going to cut it into how many half-yard pieces of rope can Isaac cut this rope? So what do you have? Well, you only have 5-yard rope. And then you're going to divide this into a half-yard pieces. So you're seeing how many half yards are there in this. So in order to do this, you would do your keep, change, and flip. So that would be 5/1. Change it to times, and then this one would be 2/1, which is 10/1, which is 10 pieces. All right, and then on this page, you are going to do the rest. So 3, 4, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, and 14. And then on the back, you are going to do 1, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, and I'm going to do this one real quick. Brandy solved 1/6 divided by 5 by using a related multiplication expression. What multiplication expression did she use? So they just want to know what was the multiplication problem out of this? Well, you should have just simply just done keep, change, and flip. So you would have kept this one. You would have changed this to a times, and then you would have flipped this around to be 1/5. And this is all it was wondering. It just wanted to know what would have been the multiplication expression. It didn't even want the answer because it said expression. So that is what you do for 8-4. All right, guys, I will see you later. Bye.